Take a break from your busy schedule and join Harold Sala for Guidelines, a 5-minute commentary on living.
Never has a generation wanted more from its culture that only Jesus Christ could provide than our present one. Like what? The comforts of prosperity, and including a home and a car, happiness, and yes, money in the bank. When that's the driving force of a society, vast numbers of people buy into the God will deliver the goods mentality, fully expecting Him to be the great provider of our expectations. This also explains why there are so many broken homes in the Christian community, why vast numbers of people own Bibles but never read them, go to church periodically and consider it to be pretty good entertainment, but are unaffected by what they experience. They face the same problems with their kids, drugs, sexual activity and its consequences, as those who make no pretense to having any relationship with God. Can we expect culture to deliver all of what you want, and more important, what you need? Or are there some things which were bought at a cross 2,000 years ago that the world can never deliver? Let's pause and define the playing field called culture. Should you consult a dictionary, you will find a host of definitions from the practical to the technical, including this one: the customary beliefs, social forms, and material traits of a racial, religious, or social group. Also the characteristic features of everyday existence, as diversions or a way of life, shared by people in a place or time. The set of shared attitudes, values, and goals, and practices that characterize an institution or organization, and so forth. Defining culture, though, is a bit like nailing Jell-O to the wall. Once you think you understand it, you're left with nothing but a bare nail on the wall and nothing to hang on it because it's moved on. Culture has been compared to the house that you live in, or a river in which you must swim, constantly affected by the current that can sweep you and your family downstream where you don't want to go. In relationship to your family, I think of culture as a framed photograph. Your family is the subject of the picture, and culture is the frame that surrounds you. Our English word culture does not appear in the Bible, yet it is the backdrop of every story you read in this book. In the 1960s, the term culture war became prominent, highlighted by the publication of James Hunter's book on the theme picturing the battle lines drawn over the issue of homosexuality, abortion, gun laws, and so forth. It was like the 50-yard line across which a giant tug-of-war took place. The struggle focused on what you embraced or denied. Periodically, the subject matter of the battles and the cast of characters changes, but the real culture wars have never ceased, and the struggle goes clear back to the Garden of Eden. The family in the garden were willing spectators, then participants, as they were confronted with choices and terrible consequences of choosing their way over God's way. Anyone who has ever studied the Bible has to acknowledge that the cultural battle spans the entire history of civilization, and it will continue to be that way. Meanwhile, when you hear your child say, "Why should I be different?" you become a participant in the cultural battle. Remember, culture is like swimming in a river, and when you find yourself floating downward with the current, something is dreadfully wrong.
You've just heard Dr. Harold Sala with Guidelines, a 5-minute commentary on living. If you would like to listen to the program again, download a copy, subscribe to our e-commentary, or view other resources, visit guidelines.org. We would like to hear from you too. You can email us at info@guidelines.org. That's info@guidelines.org. Thanks for listening, and we invite you to join us again for the next edition of Guidelines.